Hi there, it's Kevin with Roguedeckbuilder.com here with an updated list of Bug Immortal Servitude. This is my finalized list. I've been playing this for about a week now, and this is the best list I can come up with. The only changes I think I would make is maybe messing around with the Snapcaster Mage numbers here for maybe Augur of Bolas, even though I do find Augur of Bolas is another card draw very powerful. I did have I had a zombie that discarded 2 cards, or you put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, and it just seemed like the weakest card in the deck. So I cut them for 4 of Augur Bolas's main board instead, and Ravenous Rats in the sideboard. So this is my list I'm running. I'm running 21 of the dual lands here, and then 3 Grizzly Salvages. Grizzly Salvage is actually really good. It's a combination between Grizzly Salvage, Tracker's Instinct, and Forbidden Alchemy that I like to. Forbidden Alchemy is good because it can draw into your Immortal Servitude, so you can actually grab an Immortal Servitude off of the Forbidden Alchemy. You cannot with a Grizzly Salvage or a Tracker's Instinct. I like Tracker's Instinct because you can flash it back, so it gives you crazy card advantage, but a lot of times you want a land. You want to hit that 5th land drop, and only playing 21 lands, a lot of times you have to use a Grizzly Salvage to get that 5th land drop, and you're ditching everything else. So I might go up to 4 Grizzly Salvages and get down to 3 Tracker's Instincts, or maybe 2 Forbidden Alchemies. I don't know. It's just something that I'd have to play some more games with to figure out. But then we have the 4 Elvish Visionaries. They're great. They replace themselves. Then we have the 4 String Root Geist. This is actually one of the weaker cards in here, but it's a 2-for-1 as well, as you can sack it twice to the Bloodthrone Vampire. But it can also get in there for quite aggressive damage early on against the control builds. I'm playing a 3 of Bloodthrone Vampire. That seems to be the right number. 4 of is too many. You just need 1 of them, and 2 of seems to be too little. So I like to have 3 of them. Then Blood Artist. Blood Artist is the key card to this deck. You absolutely have to have this card to work. Otherwise, yeah, you're pretty much dead. Then we got good old Augur Bolas, as I've already mentioned, and Snapcaster. The reason why I run Snapcaster is a lot of times you can Snapcaster into Grizzly Salvage to try to find that 5th land, or you can Snapcaster into Immortal Servitude later game if you've dumped some of your Immortal Servitudes and you happen to have 7 mana up. Alchemist's Apprentice kind of work like Elvish Visionaries, but it's kind of nice that they have their own engine to sacrifice. So it works like Elvish Visionary, but you can sack it at any time. So you don't have to have a Bloodthrone Vampire to be able to trigger a Blood Artist, which is awesome. And then the 3 of Forbidden Alchemy. Now the sideboard is something that I would want some of these cards main board if I was seriously going to enter a tournament and I knew what the meta was going to be. Cards like Abrupt Decay or Tragic Slip could go main board. But I'm trying Ravenous Rats out, and so far it's been doing very well. I really like it. I mean, it's kind of like another Elvish Visionary, but it actually dwindles down your opponent's hand instead, which a lot of times is amazing, especially against some aggressive decks. It helps you stabilize. It helps get rid of a card that they could use against you, and then you can chump block with it. And it's not too dead if you have to Immortal Servitude it back. Then there's Tragic Slip. It works great with Bloodthrone Vampire because you can trigger Morbid, and I might go up and count here, but I do like Sever the Bloodlines in this format, as you can a lot of times 2-for-1 or 3-for-1. Get rid of all the Lingering Soul tokens. Very good card. Now I got Golgari Charm in here basically as an enchantment destroyer. The all creatures get -1/-1 is also a pretty good option. I hardly ever use the regenerate each creature you control. It's just another way to get rid of Rest in Peace. And Abrupt Decay is the other way to get rid of Rest in Peace. So both of these are basically utility cards that also hit Rest in Peace. And then I'm using also a 2 of Dimir Charm. And Dimir Charm is pretty good because you can kill a creature with it, and if you have to loot, you can loot, and it counters pretty key spells like Unburial Rites or Rakdos' Return. So in this format right now, both of those cards are very popular. Jund being a real deck right now, and also Unburial Rites being a very popular deck. So Dimir Charm is kind of we don't want to side in any sort of Rest in Peace or Graveyard Hate, so Dimir Charm is basically our option for that. Anyway, I'm just going to show a couple of games here. So the first game I'm going to show, oops, it's not going to, there we go. All right. So I'm on the draw here, and this starting hand is great. Got the Drowned Catacomb and the Watery Grave. I do need to hit into a green source, but we do have the Augur of Bolas and the Alchemist's Apprentice to help draw into that. Plus we have the Blood Artist. We have one of our pieces in our opening hand, which is awesome. So go ahead, and I drew into Overgrown Tomb, which is great. Now we have everything we need. We just need to hit into Immortal Servitude and 2 more lands. So to do that, I'm going to Augur of Bolas to try to find like a Tracker's Instinct, and I find nothing there. An Alchemist's Apprentice, Elvish Visionary, another Alchemist's Apprentice. But that's alright, at least we get those out of the way, and hopefully can draw into 2 more lands. So he gets a pretty aggressive draw here with the Lingering Souls, and we draw into a Tracker's Instinct, which is fine, but I want to guarantee that we hit land drops. And I'll attack an Augur of Bolas, and do decide to Alchemist's Apprentice, because I can sack it if I do not draw a land next turn to try to hit that land drop. So take 2 here, that's fine, still in plenty of shape here. He's got 2 Lingering Souls in the graveyard. I'm thinking I'm going up against some sort of Esper Tokens deck, so Intangible Virtues and Favorable Winds does seem very problematic at this point. I just have to try to race him. Drawn to the second Immortal Servitude here. I'm going to have to sack this Alchemist's Apprentice. And if he wants to block, you know, I would end up sacking it anyway to draw that card, but he doesn't, so he goes down to 17. I'm going to end up sacrificing this Alchemist's Apprentice here to try to hit that land drop, and I do, so I don't have to cast a Grisly Salvage here to find a land drop for this turn. I can either hold it back and cast, you know, either a Blood Artist or Tracker's Instinct or a Snapcaster Mage and something. A lot of options here. So, of course, I wouldn't want to cast a Snapcaster Mage because I don't have anything in the bin for it, but I mean, a Blood Artist and a Tracker's Instinct could work here, or a Grisly Salvage and a Blood Artist. So I decided just to cast the Blood Artist and go ahead and cast the Grisly Salvage in case he's running any sort of counter magic. And there's my 5th land source in the Woodland Cemetery. So we'll grab that and throw 3 creatures in the graveyard. That's why I like Grisly Salvage so much, is it hits a lot of things a lot of times. You grab your land and you get to throw a bunch of creatures in the bin. So we got our last combo piece in the graveyard, which is Bloodthrone Vampire. And next turn we could Immortal Servitude, which I do believe we are going to do. I'm not sure if I end up doing this game or not, because I am still at a healthy 14, but he's flashing back 2 Lingering Souls. And now if a Tangible Virtue come out, I am in very bad shape. So I do end up... Let's see if I do end up... Yep, I do end up Immortal Servituding here for 2. So it's going to bring back quite a few guys here. It's going to bring back an Alchemist's Apprentice and a Bloodthrone Vampire, an Elvish Visionary, Augur of Bolas, and whatnot. And I hit another Immortal Servitude off the Augur of Bolas, which is awesome. And I almost have him dead here. Not quite, though. I can do... Oh, no, I don't have 2 Blood Artists. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage here. So I'm going to be able to at least stabilize versus him, even if he 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, even if he would draw into an Intangible Virtues. Double Intangible Virtues would kill me, though. So I do go down to a 6, no Intangible Virtues, and he gets another Lingering Souls and flashes that back. So he's got a gazillion Spirit Tokens. So I decide to play another Blood Artist and Snapcaster into a Grisly Salvage. And I'm so close to killing him, I can do 15 damage here. I can't quite do 16. But I'm able to set up a kill for next turn. So I swing in for everything, and he decides to block. And now, if that is the case, he's going to lose some guys here. But he takes his block back and just decides to block the Bloodthrone Vampire. So I will sack that Snapcaster Mage for it. And he loses 2 life here. And loses another 2 life. And I believe he is dead here. Can I do 8? So 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, he is dead here. So that's Immortal Servitude. This is turn 7. You have to hit a Blood Artist. You have to hit a Immortal Servitude and a Bloodthrone Vampire, and that's the combo. And it goes off usually turn 6 or turn 7. That's very consistent. What I like about this deck is it can stabilize versus aggressive decks, and it has time to set up versus control decks, and is very resilient against control decks. You can play around counter spells a lot of the times and just hit that Immortal Servitude for the 1-turn win. Anyway, we'll go on to this other game here, the other game that I just recently played with this new list. And going against the same deck. So what I brought in was, the only things I brought in, I believe, were the Golgari Charms. I think that was it. And maybe I brought in the Rats. No, I did not bring in the Rats. I think it was just Golgari Charms that I brought in and took out 2 Elvish Visionaries. So this hand was great. We have 4 lands. 2 of them are black sources, so we only need to hit 1 more black source. And a Tracker's Instinct, a Visionary, and a Grizzly Salvage Apprentice. This is a perfect hand. I'm liking to see that Blood Artist, so now we have one of our combo pieces. Unfortunately, we got to ditch that Immortal Servitude. But now we have all the lands that we need to cast Immortal Servitude. And this deck is very good about going through the deck very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and throw out an Elvish Visionary to try to find some more things. Now we have 2 Blood Artists. That's good. And if he gets a crazy draw like last time with a bunch of Lingering Souls, if we hit into that Golgari Charm, it could be a win with 2 Blood Artists out. But Gideon is kind of problematic. We got to keep him from getting up to 15. So I draw a String Root Geist and decide to swing in with both of them to hit Gideon down a bit. And this way he's going to take a damage from the Blood Artist here. So I got Gideon down to 5. Not too worried about him right now. And Sorin is very problematic because we got to keep him from getting up to 6. But we're going to be able to attack him down this turn. So I do decide to go after Sorin. So I'm going to play this other Blood Artist. And then I do believe, I don't know what I do here. Maybe I think I Alchemist Apprentice, but attack in with the Strengroot Geist, and he double blocks, which is fine. He'll take 2 damage, and I'll get Sorin down to a 3. And I decide to kill the vampire. I don't want him gaining any more life. And take him down to a 16. And I can play this Alchemist Apprentice here and sack immediately because I don't get another counter off of the Alchemist Apprentice. Take him at 4 cards. I'm liking that for Forbidden Alchemy because hopefully I can find another Immortal Servitude with it. Because I do have the Bloodthrown Vampire, so I almost have a kill because there's plenty of guys in the graveyard. Yeah, I have the kill if I do draw into Immortal Servitude. So I decided to take the Snapcaster Mage there as Forbidden Alchemy, as Snapcaster does allow me to flashback Immortal Servitude. And here I decided to play that other Apprentice and sack it. And can't attack anything because this Jace -1 to everything. But next turn I can cast the Snapcaster Mage in for the kill. So Gideon is up to a 17 loyalty, so next turn he can use him. But I do draw into, I do have the Immortal Servitude Snapcaster, and I do decide, well, if he's got the counterspell, he's got the counterspell, and I lose. But we'll go for it anyway. And it doesn't look like he's running any sort of dissipates or anything because we're able to Snapcaster Mage into the Immortal Servitude, bringing back a bazillion cards, triggering a bazillion effects, and we have the combo with Immortal Servitude, or with Blood Artist and Bloodthrown Vampire. So, pretty good deck as you can see. It's very consistent. It does suffer against Rest in Peace and Slaughter games. I have been completely blown out of the water to those two, but all in all, it's a fairly fun deck to play. I definitely run this in an F&M. I might be playing it in a couple dailies here, just for fun, because it has been doing okay. It works very well against Jund unless they hit a Slaughter games. Works okay against other graveyard strategies. A lot of times you're just as fast as them. As you can see, I kill them on turn 7 both times. So anyway, this is Kevin from Roguedeckbuilder.com with Immortal Servitude Bug List. Thanks for watching.